All right, guys, we are getting there. We are getting there. So today we'll be talking about conditions and loops. So we'll learn how to use if, elif, and else statement. We'll learn how to understand comparison and logical operators. We'll create loops for repeated actions. We'll use while loop for conditional repetitions. We will combine conditions and loops for complex logic. We would build an interactive program that responds to user input and also apply all of these concepts to real world, use cases. So let's start. Number one, let's look at some basic if statements. So we have this. It says score is equals to 85. Now, if is a conditional statement, right? So if the score is greater than or equal to 90, print excellent, you got an A. Else, if, so that's the meaning of elif. Else, if the score is greater than or equal to 80, print good job, you got a B. Else, if the score is greater than or equal to 70, print not bad, you got a C. Then else, print keep studying, you can do better. So this is like a grading system, right? On Python. You can use your if statements to, get that done. And you can play around with these codes, check what works, what doesn't work, and you'll always have your GitHub Copilot here to assist you. Now, if you print this, because we said our score is 85, it checks what range 85 is. So 85 is greater than or equal to 80. So it will say, good job, you got a B. So if we say the score is 95, to tell us you got an A, right? So that is how to use if statements. So what we'll be going to next is using variables in conditions. So we have a couple of variables here. We have temperature is 25 and is sunny is true. So we are saying if the temperature is greater than 30 and is sunny, so this is saying and this is true, print it is a hot sunny day, stay hydrated. Else, if temperature is greater than 20, print nice weather for a walk. Else, it's a bit chilly. So you can see that progression, greater than 30, greater than 20, then anything else below that, it's a bit chilly. So now we set temperature as 25. We say nice weather for a walk because the temperature is greater than 20, but it's not up to 30. So if it is greater than 30, let's say 35, it will say it's a hot sunny day, stay hydrated. And if it is not up to 20, let's say it's a 15, it's chilly, right? It's a bit chilly. So that is how to use conditions, in Python. All right. Let's look at comparison operators. Comparison operators. We've been using them a little bit, and some of you might be wondering how they work. So let's create some variables first, then try and see some of these comparison operators. So we'll look at the equal to first, then the not equal to. So this is saying print age is equal to 18. What do you think it will print? We said age is 18. So when we use double equals to here, it tells us that it is trying to compare, right? And this, what do you call it? Exclamation mark and equals to, that is a not equals to. So print age not equals to 20 and print age is equal to 20. So, sorry, age equals to 18. So if you do this, this is true, this is true. So this is true because our age is exactly 18. and our age is not 20, so that is true. So that's how to use this equals to and not equals to. So next we'll look at greater than and less than. Now print age is greater than 16. Is age greater than 16? Remember our age is 18. Yes. Is age less than 21? Yes. So both of those statements are true. Let's look at greater than or equals to and less than or equals to. So is age greater than or equals to 18? Yes, it is equals to 18. Is age less than or equals to 20? Yeah, it's less than 20. So both of them are true. Now, let's look at comparing strings. You know, we're comparing integer. But now let's compare string. Our name is Alice, right? Now his name equals to Alice. His name equals to Alice. Remember, don't use 1. If you use 1, you'll get something else, right? So don't use 1. Use 2 equals to. Now, let's move on to logical operators. So our logical operators are and, or, and not. And, or, and not. So let's create these variables first. As ticket is true, as money false. Is weekend true. So now let's create some statements and use our logical operators. Now, we say if as ticket, so that means if as ticket is true, and as money, if as money is also true, then print you can go to the movies. Else, anything else. So if this is true and this is true, then you can go to the movies. Anything else, if this is false and this is true, you need both ticket and money. So something is false here. As money is false. So you need both ticket and money. Right? So that is how to use the AND operator. Now let's look at how to use OR operator. So for OR operator, at least one must be true. So for AND, both has to be true for it to be true. If one is true, then it's all false. So for AND, true is true, true false is false, false true is false, false false is false. Only true is true. So you need to take note of that. So OR operator, if as ticket or as money. So if as ticket is true or if as money is true, any one of them, then you have either a ticket or money. Else, you have neither ticket nor money. So if none of them is true, that is, if both are false, then you don't have money and you don't have a ticket. So we know that one of them is true. So yes, you have either a ticket or money. So you have one of them. So that is OR operator. So the next one is not. Not. If it is not weekend, print it's a weekday, time to work. Else, print it's weekend, time to relax. So not means opposite of what weekend is. And you know, his weekend is true. So if it is not weekend, it is a weekday. So it is weekend, it's time to relax because this is true, right? So that is why it's printing it is a weekend. Because we specify that if it is not a weekend, that is if this is false, then it should tell us that it is a weekday. So if you change this to false, run it again, then run this, it will tell you that it's a weekday because it's weekend is false. So not false is true. I hope you understand. So next thing we will be looking into is loops. Now let's start from the basics of loops. Now, when we are talking about loops, when you have items you want to repeat or run through, that is when you use the concept of loops. Now we want to count down from 10 to 1. So for I in range 10 to 0, we need you to go down minus 1 time, right? So print I, print time up when this is over. Take note of the indent. So what is indent? That space under 4 is an indent. So if it is not there, it is not saying print I as part of the for loop, right? So you need to add that indent there with a tab. So this space has to be there. So when you run this, it counts down. It starts from 10. It goes minus 1. It's printing the ith number, right? Then goes up again and continues in that loop, right, until it gets to 1, and it prints time up because the loop ran out, right? So that is a use case of a loop. Now let's have another example. Now instead of counting down, let's count from 1 to 5. So for numbers in range 1 to 6, print number is number, right? So number in range 1 to 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are not looking at 6. So if you run this to tell you number is number, because we define number here as the numbers that are in range of this, which is 1 to 5. So we have 1, it prints the first number, it goes back again, it checks for the next number in that range, that's 2, it prints 2, goes back again, it prints 3, it prints 4, it prints 5. So it does that iterative process until it gets to the end of that range, right? Now let's look at counting with steps. So we looped with a backward step initially, but now let's loop with a forward step. So for even numbers in range 0 to 11, I know that even numbers are in twos, right? So 0 to 11 and in twos. So it will print all the even numbers until it gets to the last number before 11. So if you print this, it prints 0, it adds 2, it prints that 2, it adds 2 again, it prints 4, just like that until it gets to the last one, because it won't count 11 as part of it. So I hope you are understanding, loops. Now, we can not only loop through numbers, we can actually loop through a list. So this is a list over here, a list of fruits, right? Because we assign this list to this variable. Now, we are now saying for fruits in fruits. So fruits is like you are defining fruits. You know that the variable here is fruits with an S. So this is a separate variable that we are using in this loop as a counter. So it's looking through all the fruits in this list. So, or all the items. So you can name this anything else. You can say items. For items in fruits, it's still the same thing. So you can name this something else, whatever you want it to be, right? So when you run this, it will tell you I like apple. Go to the next item in the list. I like banana. Go to the next item in the list until you get to the end. I like grapes. And it wraps up. So you can see that we are using F strings. So you can see progression from where we started, right? Right. I know you are getting this. So next, let's look at loop with index. So let's change this to fruits because the example I created was using fruits, so that we don't keep changing things. So let's run this. So now for index, fruits, in enumerate fruits, print f string fruit index plus 1 fruit. So this index is like a count. It is counting the items in this list, right? So indexes starts from 0. So the index of this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So this is saying fruit number, this is 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1, because in human perception, this is the first fruit, but in Python, this is index 0. So in order to say fruit number 1 is apple, we need to index and add 1 to it. So our index is 0 and add 1 to it, that and return that fruit. Then go through that loop again for the second fruit, that is banana. So our index is the number, fruit is the item in that variable. So go to banana, orange, grapes. So when you run this, you will get fruit number 1. That is fruit number index plus 1. So this 0 plus 1 is 1. So this index is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. That's why fruit 4 is grapes. I hope you understand. Let's move forward. Now let's look into some examples to make it sink in better. So let's try to calculate the sum of numbers. So we said total is 0. So this is initializing, right? We are trying to initialize this variable, and we used 0 as a placeholder, right? So for numbers, so this is also a variable that you are just creating in the range 1 to 6. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we are not counting 6. Total plus equals to num. So print adding num, total so far, total. Print final sum, total. So we are trying to add this number to our total. So adding, we'll start from first number 1. Total so far is 1 plus 0. Total so far will be 1. So when we get to 2, total plus 2, we know that it was 1 plus 2 is now 3. So let's run so that I can understand. So adding 1, so it's picking the first value here, and it is putting that in here. So adding 1, total so far is 1, because it started from 0. So 0 plus 1 is still 1. That is why this is this. Now, adding 2, because we are moving, for num, it has done 1. So for num in 2, adding 2. So 2 plus that our total that is now 1 is now 3. So total so far is 3. So the next number is 3. Adding that 3 to our now 3. So this total keeps updating. It started from 0 to 1 to 2, right? So yeah, it started from 0. We added 1 to it, it became 1. We added 2 to it, it became 3. We add 3 to it, it now becomes 6. So our total will keep increasing and until we get to the final place of 5. So the final sum will now be 50. So when it runs through everything in this range, it now escapes this for loop and goes to the final or the next statement, which is a print statement. So final sum is total. So this is an example of how a loop works. I hope you understand. Let's go through other examples. Let's try to create a multiplication table. Now, like I said, initializing. Number is equal to 7. We initialize that. So print multiplication table for number. So multiplication table for 7. That would be what would be printed. So for I in range 1 to 11, that is 1 to 3 to 10. Don't forget that. So we created a number. So result is equal to number, which is 7, times I. That is the current number. So 7 times I. Those 7 times, we'll start from 1. 7 times 1. So print number times I is equal to result. Our result is here. I is changing from 1 to 10, and we have a static number, 7. So it will keep printing until it gets to 7 times 10 is equal to 70. So multiplication table for 7, that is this. For this is this, so this is the loop. It keeps going until it gets to the last number. So if you change this to, let's say 21, and we run it, it will run to 20. So you got it. Next, let's look at user inputs. When you want to process user inputs multiple times. So for attempt in range 3, so name is equal to input attempt plus 1. What is your name? Print hello name. So if we run this, we have a user input here. So what is your name? I say Hope. I'll still have to do it again because we are doing this thing 3 times. So it is going through that loop 3 times. So if I say my name is Ade, it will still ask again, what is your name? Attempt 3. So attempt is changing as this is moving through the loop. So you can see that it started from attempt 1, attempt 2, now it is attempt 3. So after this, if I put my name again here, the loop will end. I hope you understand. So you can use something like that for any application you're building, just those kind of concepts. I hope you understand. Let's move on. So now we'll be discussing while loops. So while loops continue as long as that condition remains true. So when they are, in for loops, we knew the range, we knew everything, we knew what we wanted to do, our limits. But for while loops, it will continue until something ends or something becomes true. So let me give you an example. So let's look at a counter. So count is equal to 1. That's initializing. So while count is less than or equal to 5, so as long as count is less than or equal to 5, print count is count. Then count, so this plus and equals to means you are adding whatever number is after that to count. So this is now changing to whatever this number is. So let's look at the first iteration. Count is equal to 1. That's quite all right. So we are saying while count is less than or equal to 5, print that number. So this will print 1 first. So it will now add this 1 to our count is equal to 1. So count will now become 2. So this will update to 2. So if it goes through this loop again, it will print count is equal to 2. It will add 1 to that 2, it will become 3. So until we get to 5, this loop will not stop. And if you put an irresponsible number here, your loop will keep running. So count 1, count 2, count 3, just like that. So you can see that coding is very interesting and easy to learn. Now, let's look at another example that you might be familiar with. Let's try to verify passwords. So we know that the correct password is secret 123. We have tries 3 times, number of tries. So while tries is greater than 0, password is equal to input, user input, enter password. So in brackets, tries left. So this tries is a variable, this one is a string. So in this variable, it picks what you have currently. This is initializing. So the current number of tries is 3. So it will say 3 tries left the first time. So we have an if statement here. If password is equal to correct password. Correct password is this person here. The correct password is secret 123. So if the password your user imputed is exactly the same as your correct password, print access granted. Then you break. So that break means you leave the loop will end. But if this is not the case, so you can see else under the if. Please notice the indent. So all of these are still inside the while loop. You can see. So this if statement is on its own. This is under this. This is under this. And all of this is under the while loop. So take note of that. So if the password is incorrect, it will say incorrect password, try again. Then it deducts from the tries. So this 3 will become 2. So that will be 3 minus 1, 2. Then it goes again. So it continues this until this happens. So if tries is now equal to 0, print too many failed attempts, access denied. So this is a typical password verification tool. So if we run this, let's say we use secrets. Notice that my S is capital, and that's not the case in our password. So if I do this, it tells me incorrect password because of this line of code, because password is not equals to correct password. So it tells me 2 tries left, enter password. This statement, because I've used one of my tries. So if I put the correct password now, secret 123, access granted. It's so cool. Python is so cool. So we have a couple of examples in the script that we'll be sharing. So you can look into that and test run those on your own. So we'll be going into the next module, and you can also try out the practice exercise that would be in the script. So see you in the next module. Bye.